Cool, man. So for this sheet, I'm just going to go over how we organize stuff or how I organize stuff when running Facebook ads. You don't really need to use this sheet. You can actually use it on Basecamp or your Google Docs or whatever your system is. It's just easier to have one centralized system, and this sheet does help with that. So you'll see there's separate tabs in here in the sheet, and we're going to go over everything. The most important, again, is to make sure that you know your own system and make sure that you're tracking not only the overall ad strategy, but also day-to-day management, and ensure that any changes you make or the team makes, we have one centralized spot. So like if you have a campaign manager and they're scaling a campaign, you already know that that's happening by checking the management log and stuff like that. So let's dive into each tab, and I'll go over real quick and then answer any questions you have at the end. So the first thing really is the funnel. So this is the most important key piece that I care about, really, is just knowing the actual the page we're driving traffic to, the landing page, the opt-in page, the thank you page. If they have a webinar, I want to know the URLs there. And if they have upsells, cross-sells, or follow-up or retargeting sales pages, I need to know those. And I want to know the URL specifically because I can set up custom audiences based off of those, especially for retargeting. These two tabs here I have for conversions and tracking. So the tracking, if you're using specific UTMs, you can add the UTM code here or the Wicked Reports tracking code here. For the conversion, I like to put if this is a custom conversion or a standard event. So for example, if the step is an opt-in and the URL is /opt-in, and then the thank you page or thank you opt-in, then I like to track here, or this is either a standard event of a completed registration or it's a custom conversion of opt-in. So it's super critical to ensure that we know across the board what the conversion points are for every single step of the funnel, especially when you have a lot of clients. It makes it much easier and a no-brainer, especially if you're doing retargeting. You're not going to optimize for an opt-in if you're going to set up the sale or a completed registration or whatever you're trying to optimize down the bottom of the funnel. Next step is the audiences. This is just to help you organize the type of audiences that you have, specific interests, lookalike custom audiences. You can even add a tab on the right-hand side to this saying if it's proven or failed. And that will help you a lot with the audience testing. The over here, the created or in the step, it just helps you to understand what type of audience this is. If it's a top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel. Obviously, top of funnel will be cold, middle of funnel would be your general retargeting, and bottom of funnel would be if you're doing e-commerce, your non-buyer retargeting, or if you're doing webinar sales, again, non-buyer retargeting. This created column here is just for us internally or for you to really map out every single audience you can think of in your head and then just lay it all in here. And then once you go to the ad account, then you can say, oh, I created this in the ad account, or this is not created in the ad account. That just allows you to brainstorm faster without having to wait for Facebook's custom audience creation tools, because it just takes a while if you do it directly on Facebook, and you want to make sure you don't miss anything on your end, especially when you're strategizing. For specific interest ideation, this is a really complicated looking sheet. The only reason I have it this way and I haven't changed it is for two reasons. One, it's copy and paste straight up from the Facebook audience insights. So if you want to search a specific keyword and you want to copy and paste those results, you can go ahead and do that in here. And on the left-hand side, I have tools or ideas of where you can go ahead and get ideas for targeting and interests, especially for different websites you can visit, different searches you can actually do on Facebook itself, like graph searches. I'm not sure if you know how to do that. You can literally go on the top, like the search bar in Facebook, and say pages liked by people who like Frank Kern, or pages liked by people who like digital marketer. And Facebook will show you those results. So it helps you do that research. You can do also fans of the page name over the age of 50, if you're targeting, baby boomers or anyone over 50, stuff like that. Another thing you can do, and this takes a lot of manual work. You can have a campaign manager do this for you, but I found this to be very good, is reviewing actual Facebook profiles, like of people who are in your avatar. This would be really good for e-commerce, and it's actually helped do research for e-commerce for myself. Let's say I have a woman who's 35 and she wants to buy beauty products. Well, then I look at the buyers who've actually purchased this product that we're selling, and I'll do reverse engineering. Who's actually buying the product and why are they actually buying? You can learn a lot by the photos that they post, and they sometimes have the pages that they already like. So you can get a feel of who your avatar is. And the number 21 is just this is like the golden number. It's not like it's a perfect number. You can do 50, you can do 100, but after like 21 searches, this does take a while. It does allow you to get a really good feel of your customer avatar. So after doing like 15, 16, 17, 18, you'll automatically know enough information so that numbers 19, 20, 21, you can already assume their like literally their demographics. If it's a male, female, their age, how many kids they have, their hair color, what they hang out with, what music they do, listen to, stuff like that. So I found 21 to be the shortest amount of people to search to get the most insights from, and plus you're doing all this stuff. So this is obviously overkill if you're going to do it for every single customer, but again, if you go above and beyond, have better messaging, better targeting, you're going to win. And that's what a lot of people are missing out on. And this is, again, not using any fancier paid tools. This is literally straight up on Facebook, using all the available resources. And so there's really no excuse of getting really narrowed in targeting with your audience. And this sheet is like a scratch paper, so you can move it or adjust it however you like. For the ad strategy, this is an optional sheet. This just helps me and the team. Well, depending if we're using this, I can write this out on Basecamp as well. Both are super simple to use. However, here I just like to say, okay, this is cold traffic, and this is going to be a conversions campaign, and then I just literally write out the ad sets: 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, right? That was a 4, and then you put the interests or the lookalikes that you want to include and exclude for that ad set, your budget, the bid type, if you're doing um, if whatever you're optimizing for, and then your next optimization test. Let's say you're doing e-commerce and you want to do straight purchases, but that might not work. You may want to do add to carts especially if it's cold traffic. Obviously, you want to go always for the purchase, but it's always good to know your next follow-up tests for that specific campaign or ad set. And then here, this is just like the ad that you want to hit specifically for cold traffic. You could do long form video or just short form video, whatever you want to do. This is outdated because I wrote this probably 6 months ago. The placement, this would be super helpful for you to know if you have specific creatives. Let's say you have a square video that's less than 60 seconds. You can put that on Facebook feeds and Instagram feeds. That'll allow you to ensure that you know which creative goes in with which placement. And that's actually how you're going to win now with Facebook is placement specific creatives, especially for retargeting, for using stories and all that. And it's always good to know where that specific ad is going to drive traffic to. So it's just for you to know as well for the team. If you're going to have a campaign manager do this, you can set this up and they can literally follow it verbatim, execute the campaign, make it live with no little room for error, because then they won't be confused where they're actually sending traffic to. And then this extra column over here is optional again if you want to create a specific creative custom audience for that specific like people who visited this landing page in the last 3, 7 to 14 days. You can write that in here and then go back to your audience tab and just copy and paste it so you can build it out later. But again, these two sheets are very agile, so that you don't have to use them verbatim. You can take part of it and use parts of it, or you can take the whole thing and run with the whole thing. This has worked for me just to explain the idea and have people follow it or be comfortable with the overall strategy of the account and visualize the account, because sometimes you might have multiple funnels with multiple entry points and multiple offers. It kind of makes it easier to lay it down in one area. The management log is probably the most important piece to this, and this has been updated recently when I shared it with you. This management log, it doesn't matter if you're doing it on a Word doc, on Basecamp, on your notes on Mac, or on this. It's the most important key piece, because the first thing you want to do is you want to know what you're doing, any testing you're doing, and the results of that test, because that specific test, because there's like 3 things you can only do on Facebook. You can shut things off, you can start another test, or you can scale. So when you're testing, you want to know if it's validated or if it's failed, or if you're still in the testing phase, if you haven't gotten enough data. And then while you're like literally making iterations or tests or scaling, you want to start thinking, what's the next best thing to do? Like, should I create a new lookalike? Should I optimize the funnel? Should I change the landing page color? Should I do a split test with WVO? All those things you can do. And it just helps you lay out your ideas and also make sure that you're not testing for testing's sake. And if you're scaling, then just go ahead and scale and get more profits out of your current ads. And the last thing is the funnel testing. This is, again, like, If you're making recommendations to the client, or if you see that there can be some optimizations that need to happen for the specific funnel that you're running, you can write those notes here, and you can either tell that you actually tested it, or that you recommended it to the client if you have no control over the funnel. It's just a good place to have your thoughts all in one area. So again, this is the sheet. You don't have to use this. It's really good just to have everything out of your mind and into a system. And any questions you have after reviewing that?
Yeah, I have a few. So when you're looking at when you start out with your specific interest ideation, are you shooting for a minimum number of audiences, or
I'm shooting for as many as I need to launch, and depending on the budget. Like if the client has a 50 to 150 a day budget, you're not really going to be able to test 50 interests at once, but you want to
right?
have at least 20 to 30 ready to go, so you can
Okay.
test 10 at a time, and then once you iterate, you can fine tune and go deeper, especially with audience insights.
So on the first tab, the funnel tab, so that's just where you're keeping track of the URLs in the funnel. So like I have a client who has they have a sales letter, they have a webinar, and they have an ebook. So they have all those URLs. So this would be just where you list all that out.
Yeah, I would do the funnel map. So if it's like 3 different funnels, I would do funnel one, and then literally list it out here, list out the
Yep.
conversion points and any specific tracking that you need, and then funnel number 2, 3, and so on.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so on the ad strategy, I'm glad you said it about ad angle. I was kind of curious about that piece specifically. Um, how you were using that, because I mean I get putting like the mechanics of the ad set in here, like optimize for add to cart, next optimization is purchase, but then the ad angle, I guess that's actually where I have a question. So that what seems to be missing from this is the management of the creatives themselves. And so my understanding is you guys do that in Basecamp as it is, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I used to have a sheet that was just strictly for creatives, and it was just like this. It would be headline, ad copy, image to use, and then post ID. And then you can put if it's tested or if it's proven. That is actually a super helpful layout. But the problem with this, if you have long form posts, then it's
Yep.
going to really block off this. But other than that, it works really, really well. So if that's something
Yeah.
that you can utilize in the system.
And I know, like in Basecamp, you guys are using where you'll have, like, let's say, add one, you'll have the URL, and then you'll have variations of that. But is there still anywhere where you're keeping the entire creative, like all the copy, the headline typed out, or do you just have the link to it in Basecamp?
We have the link to it on Basecamp. Actually, we do have ad planning docs, so you can put all the ad copy in there. You just need to make sure that you have your nomenclature really set up. Like if you're testing, let's say ad one, so that's ad copy one with headline 3 using image 4. You just need to make sure you have a labeling system, and these are properly labeled on Basecamp. So on Basecamp, it would be like a text note, or you can even do a Google Doc where it's
Right.
all ads, and you label the ads. This is ad one. This is ad three. The problem with this is that you have to be very organized, and you need to know how, like, if you're testing creative rapidly, then you need to overcome that. So we've gone to the point where we test creative so rapidly that this becomes a redundant that's not necessary. I just need to know which creative angles are working, and we can expand on that and exploit that faster, because you need to really work with speed here.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that because that was kind of the issue I run into sometimes. Like you might have a client where you're iterating quickly, and before I know it, I have 10 videos, 5 copy versions, 8 headlines, and it's like, do I really need to be keeping track of all of these? Does that? So
Yeah, so here's the biggest key insight that I've learned, and this is what I've implemented, is I actually mimicked some of the stuff I do in the sheet in Ads Manager itself. Ads Manager is just a sophisticated spreadsheet, if you think about it.
yeah,
So I would still keep a log or a Google Doc or a Basecamp doc of all the ad copies and then all your assets, your creative assets. We still do that. I still need all those assets in one location, just I can label them. But on the actual ads manager, I will label ads specifically as ad and then the name of the ad, the headline. If we have only specific headlines, I'll label them by number or the actual headline name, and then the image, and I'll just describe the image. So like ads today look like add one, and then H1, and then we'll do image uh, storyboard. And this will help us understand what's working, what's not working. So I kind of mimicked a lot of things that I used to do in the sheets into Ads Manager because of the rapid movement. You just want to keep track of the winners and then scale that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that was the issue I was running into. Is like, how do well, I won't say that's the issue. What I was trying to understand is what is the best method for doing this, because I could paste all of the copy word for word into a Basecamp document, and I could put all the headlines in there. But at some point, there's probably a more efficient way, and so that's what I wanted to find out from you, because I know you're doing this a lot. So just, does it make more sense to just have a text doc in Basecamp that links to a Google Sheet where this stuff is, or those kind
Y-
of things?
Well, yeah, that's the issue when you use Google Sheets when Basecamp. You're using two different systems. So if you do use Google Drive, which is much more nicer to look at and easier to organize than Basecamp text docs, then yeah, just link it out. It would be much easier to link it out as long as you have a centralized location where your team knows where to look at. All you need is a centralized map, essentially, like a dashboard, and then if that's Basecamp, and tell them, okay, just look at the creative text doc in Basecamp, and then link out to Google Drive folders. Access and communication is the most critical piece when working with a team. I'll share the sheet if you don't already have it, and any questions you have following up, just post in the group, and we'll go ahead and iterate from there. Because this stuff grows and is dynamic. The fundamentals are there when you keep
Yeah.
track of stuff, but it's just a principle that is applied to a spreadsheet. You can apply this principle to any format or workflow that you have.
Yeah, you sent me the spreadsheet, and I already went in and I changed some of it a little bit because I think it just suits kind of the way I do things a little bit better. But yeah, you answered all the questions I did have, so I think I'll be able to come up with something that really works for me. And the good news is I haven't hired a campaign manager yet, and that's part of the intent here. Is I want to systematize this first so that I do have that really even, neat flow of communication both ways, instead of trying to bring somebody on and just have them, be inside my brain.
Yeah, that's the tough part. But no, I'm glad that this really helps. Hold on.
All right, hey, if your business is doing $20,000 to $50,000 per month, and you're kind of like stuck in this little spot there. You're running most of the things by yourself. You're doing pretty well, but you don't really have like a team built, and you want to start scaling, and you know that paid traffic's going to allow you to do that, but you're just kind of not sure how to get that whole thing working, and how do you manage all of this along with everything that's on your plate. If that's you, then I've got something for you right now. What we've done is we put a program together that I call the Directive, and it's geared just for people like you that are in your spot right now. It's meant to help you get over that hump and be able to put the processes and systems in place that not only extend across to your paid advertising, but also into the back end of your business, so that you can scale up your business to the six-figure mark per month and beyond. That's exactly what this is designed for. And we've got a private group here that we've limited to 30 select entrepreneurs that are in that space right now, where you're doing at least $20,000 per month, and you want to start putting systems and people in place and start growing and scaling in a time leveraged manner using paid traffic and get to that six-figure per month mark. We're able to help our customers rapidly get to that mark inside of this program that we call the Directive. Now, like I said, it's limited to just 30 entrepreneurs that fit this criteria. And even though you may have these base criteria here, we still may not be a good fit. So if you're in that spot and you would like to work with me and my team in a one-to-one manner on your ads, your offers, and your funnels, along with the back end of your business, so that we can get you in that spot where we can take you from where you are now to six figures plus per month, then go ahead and click the link that we're going to put in the comments below this video, and it's going to take you out to a page where you can apply to talk with one of us on the team. You may talk to me, and you may end up talking to one of my other team members who is one of our qualified trainers, also an agency owner, very good friend of mine. We will only work with the best people. You may talk to me or one of those trainers, and we'll talk about your business and see if this is a good fit for you or not. We'll answer all your questions, make it real simple. Like I said, only if you meet that criteria. You got to be doing at least $20,000 per month, and you want to start putting systems and stuff in place so that you can leverage paid traffic and get to six figures per month. All right? So if you meet that criteria and you want to talk further, see if the Directive is a good fit for you, fill out the form below. We'll get on the phone, talk with you, see if it's a good fit. If it is, we can talk about what it would look like to move forward so that we can help you more one-to-one, get to where you want to be. To the victor belong the spoils. This is Jason Hornung.